Hi, my name is Alok Bhargava. I'm the co-founder and chief operating officer of Cambridge Blockchain. In my role at Cambridge Blockchain, I oversee product in its entirety. So I'm really the head of product, all the way from understanding market needs and requirements, translating them into product, to the development of the product. What we're working on is in the space of digital identity and personal data, and we are using blockchain technology to allow us to reliably share certain key pieces of personal identity data and sensitive information. Today I'm going to talk about product development, but in leading into the discussion about product development, I want to first start talking about what it means to create a product, and why do you create a product, and ultimately we talk about business and where does that start. So at the end of the day, it all starts with somebody willing to pay you money for something. So you're going to give them either a product or a service, and you can think of a service also as a product, and they're going to give you some money, okay? And they're going to give you money if they're willing to pay you for it. So there has to be a willingness to pay. And the willingness to pay only exists if your product or service delivers them some value. So really it's important to first start thinking about value and not really about the money. We have to think about how do you deliver value to your end customer. And a lot of people that work in science and technology think that intrinsically that science and technology offers a lot of value, but sort of don't complete the whole analysis of how do you convert that value into money. How do you finally get someone to become willing to pay you money for either a technology or science idea that you think is very valuable, but is often sort of not fully qualified and developed so that a customer can understand, okay, this is what I'm going to be willing to pay for, okay? And in doing that, you typically engage in what we call a product market fit exercise. So a product market fit exercise effectively starts discovering the needs of the market, and this tends to be a little bit technology driven. A product market fit exercise tends to be technology driven. You have an idea, you think it's valuable, you take it to the market, you're trying to understand market needs, you're trying to understand how do you take this technology that I have that I think delivers value to people, how do I turn it into a product? And it's really that product that people are going to be willing to pay you for. So that product market fit exercise requires talking to a lot of customers, understanding their needs, right? So understanding customer needs, then explaining the value that you offer the customer, explaining value of idea / innovation, right? And then engaging in a cycle, which should be a virtuous cycle of this, in trying to create something like a product that they would be willing to pay you for. And that's what we've been doing in my company. We had this idea of how we could leverage blockchain technology to address identity, but it was just an idea. We could see the vast potential because we understand business, we understand how this could address certain needs. But what does it need to look like for somebody to pay you for that? In order to understand what it needs to look like, you go and talk to the market and engage in this product market fit exercise. And at the end of a product market fit exercise, you typically have an understanding of what should this product kind of look like. Like it should be like a box, it has 4 buttons, if I press the button it does this. And that really is called giving definition to a product and explaining its functionality. So really you start with customer needs, and often you've got to take customer needs across the market. So really these are market and customer needs, because some needs tend to be specific to customers and some are general. From that you define a product. That includes saying it's going to be a box that is metallic and it's going to have 5 buttons. Looks great. But what happens when you press the button? So you have to define the product and its functionality. And that really is the start of the product development process is starting from these points. Especially when you're doing something innovative, you can't expect the market to simply accept your assertion that is valuable, because the market always has a framework and a reference that it has, whereby that's the way it needs to absorb things into it. So for example, we sell to big banks. Big banks have existing infrastructures and they can really only handle technology in certain ways. So whereas you might have a great idea that offers a lot of value, unless the bank can actually absorb that technology and take and really realize that value, it's not going to be able to pay you any money for it. And hence that's, you go through this thing, you finally get the product. So my specialty has been really the telecom industry, where I did a lot of systems development. I sort of built systems and I designed systems, and then I started marketing systems and selling systems. And part of that was exercising a product market fit, but it was a lot easier because the market was a little bit more mature. Good to go? All right, so the one thing that I'm gonna try and address over here is, how do you go from having generated value via research and discovery to ultimately generating value in business? And I addressed that a little bit earlier on, which is that typically when you generate value via research and discovery, it's hard to translate this into hardcore economics, because you're coming up with a really, really good idea that has a lot of potential. But for that to be turned into dollars, you need to take it one more step. And for that to be turned into dollars, you may still be able to make a product, but if the cost of building that product is extremely high, such that the market is not willing to pay you for that, then you're going to sort of fail in business, even though you created the product. So realizing value in business is a complex function of making sure that you are able to deliver in a consumable fashion your idea, your innovative idea that you came through research and discovery, within the right economic framework. Because if the economic framework doesn't work, then your business is not going to take off. Because in the free market economy that is the United States and most of the rest of the world, business is basically a financial economic construct. You basically invest a certain amount of money to create a product that you sell, and then see if you can make a profit out of it. And that's what gets a business going off the ground. If you can't make the profit, then typically businesses either die or they get bought by other companies that can somehow realize that profit. Okay? So I'm going to talk a little bit about how to think about value. At the end of the day, value is basically someone's judgment call of how they perceive something. So one way to think about this is that through research and discovery and some real fundamental thinking, somebody can come up with a really fantastic algorithm that provides extremely strong encryption, for example, right? However, if in the process of taking it to the market, we find that the algorithm takes too long to run, as in it takes almost a minute to encrypt, whereas the application where people want this encryption really requires a response within seconds, then it doesn't have practical value. So whereas it yielded a lot of thought value, academic value, deeper understanding of the science, the math, so on and so forth, at the end of the day, value is value. Whether you're able to realize the value, say in business or not, really is a function of many things. Back here to product market fit, we talked about how when you have an innovative idea, you've got some value over here, you want to convert that into business value, you kind of engage in this product market fit exercise. And the reason we call this product is because typically in the world of business, people consume products or services, but service can also be modeled as a product. So you engage in this product market fit exercise. That exercise basically is also called commercialization, right? Effectively, you're trying to take an idea, especially commercialization is very popular when ideas sort of originate in academia, right? Because you call that term commercialization. But effectively, commercialization is taking your idea and engaging in a number of steps. One is obviously a product market fit. But the other, which often basic science runs into, is like, oh, how do I create this thing? How do I create one of these products that, not that I know what the product is, having done the product market fit, how do I create these products? Okay, I'm going to need a factory, I'm going to need workers, so on and so forth. And you basically understand what are the ingredients I need. Same goes in software, except the factory is people, typically. And then you need processors and memory and so on and so forth. Think of those as your ingredients. And then when you start thinking about how am I going to build the product, you start developing an idea of, well, how much is it going to cost to build it? Okay. Now, often people confuse the cost to build something with the price that the market is willing to pay. Those are two completely separate things. The market will have a certain price it's willing to pay for a particular product that delivers a certain value for them. The price is determined by many other things. It's not determined necessarily by the cost of making that product. That's called cost-based pricing. And almost is very few items where cost-based pricing works. Typically commodities.